guys, we got a real exciting one for you right here. We're going into round 3 at Card Kingdom. We got a Charlotte's Bug versus a Miracles matchup for you. Right now, we're just going to show you the standings for Game 2 as we get things set up. We got Aaron Gaudio on Charlotte's Bug versus Daniel Smith on Miracles. So this should be a pretty interesting matchup. What do you think of this, Charles?
It'll be interesting to see if the card advantage aspect from Aaron can overcome the raw power that Daniel will provide.
Yeah, certainly. Let's go down to the match, see how things are doing. And right now they're getting shuffled up. Oh, whoops, they're not both on Miracles.
Unfortunately not. We can't watch the riveting match that would have been Miracles on Miracles.
It's actually pretty interesting when it's not decided by blind flips, but it's a lot of subtlety.
I'm all about the blind flips.
Oh yeah, you love games of chance though. Okay, so right now we got, let's see what these guys are working with. So it's a pretty stock list for both guys, it seems. Daniel seems to be on what's called the Ovino style list. 2 Monastery Mentors and Entreat the Angels. So a Ponder built version, and Aaron is on just a regular stock Charlotte's Bug deck with a basic forest, basic swamp. So
he has a Volrath Stronghold. Is that something that's very common in the Charlotte's Bug builds?
No, it's not particularly common in Charlotte's Bug, but I've seen it. James Wynn, who won SCG Portland with Charlotte's Bug back in like June 2014, he actually beat me in round 7. He was running that. I've also seen it in Allurin and in Nick Fit decks, so it's not super commonly played, but it does see a decent amount.
Yeah, being able to buy back something like Charlotte's Agent over and over again.
Yeah.
Or even just a Tarmogoyf.
Yeah, it's not particularly great in this matchup though, because most of the removal will either put your cards on the bottom of your library or exile it from the game. But if your creature's getting countered, it can do a lot of work. It looks like Aaron's content with his 7. Daniel's going to ship his... Oh, no. They're both keeping their hands. So
we'll see a fetch for an underground.
Yeah. Charlotte's Bug doesn't really have a lot of turn 1 plays, but the ones they do have are quite potent. Generally, I mean, you're not going to brainstorm on turn 1 most of the time, but leading with a Deathrite Shaman or suspending an Ancestral Vision against a slow deck such as Miracles is quite good.
Yeah, definitely. I think from Daniel, we see no top, which is Miracles is more of a Sensei's Divining Top deck than anything else, right, Sean?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, it can win without Sensei's Divining Top, but it enables so many of the synergies that are important in the deck that, especially when you're facing down a lot of discard, what you really want to do is get a very fast Sensei's Divining Top to help you manipulate your library. So Aaron here's off to a great start. He's fetching, which means he probably has to play this turn. I think it's going to be either Liliana or a Charlotte's Bug, Charlotte's Agent.
Could also just be a him if he wants to get in for 1.
Oh yeah, certainly. I think oftentimes players miss damage, but it's like right here, he's going to play a Hymn to Turok, target Daniel. Ooh, this is kind of crippling, especially since he doesn't have a top to help manipulate his library.
Yeah, top definitely would help Daniel mitigate this him.
Yeah, it looks like he's holding a couple of Miracles, a Counterbalance or 2, a land, and a Brainstorm. I consider Brainstorming if there are cards you want to protect, but most of them are bad. Counterbalance is pretty bad in this matchup. Miracles out on your hand are pretty bad. He just really wants to make sure, he wants to hope that the him doesn't hit his Brainstorm or his lands.
Yeah. Really, Daniel, hoping to hit a top off the top. But
yeah. El Dorte, unfortunately, I don't have the information about whether these decks are Ant or Test. Once we have more details, the specific deck list, I can let you know. It's 2 Terminuses off of the Hymn to Turok. I think that's as good as it could have possibly gone for Daniel.
That is not the end of the world for Daniel.
He's going to serve in for 1 with the Deathrite Shaman, dropping Daniel 219. Daniel's going to draw for the turn, Check if it's a miracle by looking at it before he puts it in his hand. In fact, it was, but not the one he wanted.
It was Entreat the Angels. So here, Daniel here, double fetching, it looks like.
Fetching twice.
I'm going to assume he's going to be playing a counterbalance. Just naked. Just getting it down there.
Yeah, it's not particularly good against Charlotte's Bug, but sometimes they don't have an answer to it, and it's nice. And then other times they might have a decay, but if you have a fetch line open, you could start manipulating your library. So I like jamming if you don't have anything else to do, which it seems like he does not. And Aaron actually had a Force of Will, but chose to let it resolve. Right now, I think this is a great time for him to jam that Jace Mind Sculptor in his hand. Daniel really needs to hit the... Oh, he's going to go for the Charlotte's Agent instead. So the way this works is it's going to be a Cascade trigger. Oh, and Daniel does not decline to reveal for his...
He's stacking the triggers correctly, so...
Well, no, as a non-active player, your counterbalance trigger goes for the Charlotte's Agent first.
Oh.
And then the Cascaded spell can also get counterbalanced. Yeah. But that was a whiff on both. It looks like Daniel's going to consider this Sylvan Library. It's very good against Miracles when they don't have much pressure, as they often don't. Looks like he's going to force pitching a counter spell. Oh, if he had a counter spell, I think I would like just passing the turn.
So it ended up Daniel punished for casting that counterbalance.
And Aaron's going to force right back. Now the Sylvan Library is going to stick, and presumably so is the Charlotte's Agent.
So things not looking great here for Daniel.
Yeah, but land's not the worst draw. He has a Brainstorm. If he can find a white source and set up the Entreat, he might be able to steal one. Oh, he has a Monastery Mentor. Okay.
Just hoping that he'll chain some spells.
Yeah, this is quite good, actually.
And you know what? This gives him the potential to maybe steal this game.
Oh, there's an Abrupt Decay.
If Aaron can't answer
on
this.
The top 3. I like just taking 8 cards, right? Taking 8 life and taking 3 cards right here.
Yeah, it would... Taking the Brainstorm would allow Aaron to pitch a blue card without losing that Jace here. Mm-hmm. If he were required to cast that Force of Will.
Yeah. I think right now the Monastery Mentor is pretty scary. You got to get that off the table right now because it also makes your Sylvan Library much worse.
Yeah. I like taking the Force here, even though it looks like Aaron's going to put it back.
So
if Daniel casts something, even just like a top, or a Terminus, you just force it, right? Maybe not a Terminus, but...
I would force a top.
Yeah.
But I would just jam a Jace and bounce that Mentor right away. And I would have taken that Abrupt Decay. Now, my line would get blown out very hard by a Jace off the top. Because that counters... The counterbalance would counter the Jace, and then Mentor would potentially go wild. But, Jace can't get cast next turn anyways, unless Daniel has another land. It looks like Aaron's going to do just that. He gets a Tropical Island, so now he's got access to double blue, double black, and 1 green, plus the Deathrite Shaman can make rainbow mana. And he's going to present back to his opponent, Daniel. He's going to cut, and Aaron's going to go ahead and exile a land from his yard, slam a Jace on the table. Daniel's going to trigger counterbalance. Ooh, and it's a Scalding Tarn.
Nope, yep.
He's going to probably want to bounce that... Snap the Monastery Mentor right now before it gets out of control. And barring Gut Shot, it looks like this is going to prevent him from getting a clock. And there we go.
So Aaron looks like Aaron has this game on lockdown.
Aaron's in the driver's seat.
Yep.
But Monastery Mentor could still get out of control. Brainstorm hitting tops would be very good.
Well, we know Aaron has an Abrupt Decay, right?
No, he saw it on the Sylvan Library, but he shuffled it back.
Oh. He shuffled it away. All right. Well, we see a Maelstrom Pulse here.
Yeah.
So.
That can get countered, however, so we'll see if Aaron can fade it. I know that Daniel only has 3 drops in his deck, and I think he has an Entreat in his hand and the Mentor in play, so there's only 1 life hit for the Maelstrom Pulse.
Well, traditionally, Miracle decks don't play a lot of 3 drops, correct?
Usually not, but some versions also play Vendilion Clicks, Council's Judgment main.
Well, he could just cast Maelstrom Pulse, and if it's countered, then he could just bounce it with Jace again.
And Daniel actually plays a Council's Judgment too. So Aaron's going to take the conservative line.
Oh, smart. He's going to Fate Seal first.
Okay.
But that
counterbalance.
The fetch land
will allow him to scry.
Yeah.
I like this though because even if it gets countered, Even if it's counter by counterbalance, a 3-drop is unlikely to allow him to trigger Mentor, and therefore Jace is survived with the blockers in front of him.
Well, the thing is, Aaron is in such a commanding position that I think I'd rather just Maelstrom Pulse first, because the way Daniel wins this game is he hits one of his 3s.
Yeah.
And I guess he hits his other Monastery Mentor, and somehow this game gets out of hand.
Yeah. So the counterbalance revealed a Snapcaster Mage. Very good card in this matchup. However, situationally, it is awful right now. There are no worthwhile targets in his graveyard that can flash back. Okay, thanks. So let's go get this fixed up.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're going to quickly try and resolve this.
Yeah, and this is a really simple fix. But a judge can get involved, so we'll make sure this is definitely fixed.
I'm sure there was no malicious intent on Daniel's part.
Planes.
Getting the planes off the Scalding Tarn when he already has.
Yeah. But it's nice to be able to get this fixed, because we want to demonstrate clean board states and good progressions of the game.
It might be past the part where they can fix this. Because Daniel already drew another card. Regardless.
Yeah. Well, I'm not well versed in how judges fix things that are quote unquote too messy. I think it's pretty easy to fix, but we'll see what the judge ends up deciding.
They're just talking with the judge.
Yeah.
My guess is Daniel will just get a warning. Nothing too serious. Minor mistake. We all do that all the time.
All right, so it looks like the game got rewinded to some point.
I think they're discussing, the judges are discussing what's going to happen.
Yeah. Hey, Tinfin and Snowy, we saw some spicy ones. Round 1, we had Charlotte's Bug versus 12 posts, with 12 posts winning. And in round 2, we had
CVM on Sneak and Show
versus Mono Blue Aggro.
It was Mono Blue Tempo. It had Spellstutter Sprite, Martyr of Frost, Judge's Familiar, Force of Will, and whatnot.
Yeah.
So it looks like Daniel here is just going to fetch.
Get a basic island. Yeah. And things are fixed. He's going to draw for his turn. Poor draw, unfortunately. And Aaron's going to take his turn. Remember the Sylvan Library trigger. Look at his 3 cards. What's he got to work with? Ooh, those are spicy. That's 2 Charlotte's Agents, I believe. And Tarmogoyf. Wow. So he's going to go ahead, presumably, possibly Fate Seal, actually. Miracles has a lot of high impact cards that he wants to take Daniel off of. And he's going to reveal a top. Well, top is not going to counter anything, but it is kind of annoying when he's trying to, when you're going to counter. I'll let him keep it.
The top?
Yeah.
Really?
I'll let him keep it. You're going to jam a ton of power on the board.
I think I would put it on bottom, because it just allows Daniel access to the next 3 cards. And it makes all your future Fate Seals irrelevant.
Fair.
I think that is one of the few cards you actually ship. I think even if you might not even be afraid of Jace compared to top.
Yeah. So Charlotte's Agent's initially going to go attack Aaron, but it's going to change his mind and attack Daniel. Now Daniel drops to 8. Follow-up is another Charlotte's Agent, Cascade trigger, and Counterbalance trigger. Let's see if Daniel reveals for the Counterbalance trigger. It's going to be a Plains. It's going to cascade into a Tarmogoyf. And that's going to be lethal, probably. You know, Daniel could hard cast that Entreat in hand.
Get a Sarah Angel of sorts.
Yeah, gonna get bounced by Jace. He might play Snapcaster just to block because he needs to just hit Terminus on the next turn in 2 turns. But he's gonna just concede.
Yeah.
I don't think there was much utility in playing that out. So game 1's gonna go in favor of Aaron. And we're gonna go to the player's sideboard to see what they are working with. So Daniel's gonna be on the play. What do you think he wants here?
He definitely wants some Pyroblast.
I agree with the Pyroblast. At least 2 copies, maybe 3, because I don't think he has a whole lot to bring in.
And again, Rest in Peace is a card.
Yeah,
It
he's
has
only
a high
playing.
impact.
I think it has a high impact. I don't particularly like it in my build, but I have more Snapcasters than Daniel does.
Yeah.
I think this is a card that he at least wants to bring 1 copy of, possibly 2.
Definitely shutting down Tarmogoyf, making them just nullifying those threats,
Yeah.
nullifying Deathrite Shaman.
Now, interestingly, he has 2 copies of Blood Moon. I don't think that's great against Charlos as people tend to think, but I mean, if you're gonna have it in your sideboard, this is definitely a matchup where you want it.
It's one of those cards where it punishes Aaron for playing poorly.
Well, I mean, sometimes you can't afford to play around Blood Moon. So let's get a picture of Blood Moon right here. It's just a really powerful hoser that prevents the Charlos player from really casting very many spells because they only really have a basic Swamp, a Forest, and maybe Death Rites to work with.
And over on Aaron's side, I definitely think Pithy Needle to shut down top,
Yeah.
Rod.
I already got it taken care of.
If Aaron did see Snapcaster Mage, maybe we'll see some kind of graveyard hate like Nihil Spellbomb.
I think it's pretty low impact in this matchup. I put in the No Rod and the Pithing Needle, and then also, and then let's see, maybe the Grafted. I don't like that. Golgari Charm, if he's worried about stuff like Blood Moon and he doesn't anticipate Daniel to take out counterbalances, there's always a bit of a guessing game. I think he boards very sparingly. Maybe the Thoughtseize is better on the play than the draw because you really want to take top. For Daniel, I also like bringing in the Vendilion Click and then 2 copies of Wear Tear because there are like cards like Sylvan Library, Pithing Needle, No Rod are so difficult to beat.
Absolutely.
So let's see how these players are. And looks like they've got their sideboards. And yeah, Daniel doesn't need to go with the Wear Tears. I think often if a deck has Blood Moons, it will keep in its counterbalances even if it wouldn't otherwise be great. And if it doesn't plan on bringing Blood Moons. So it's the theory is either blank all their decays or overload them.
Yeah. So Charlotte's Bug is favored in this matchup, correct?
It is. It ranges from close to 50-50, maybe even slightly favorable to Miracles, to solidly in favor of Charlotte's Bug, depending on the respective builds. I think this one is slightly favorable for Charlotte's, but it's not lopsided.
Sure.
About 31 minutes, plenty of time for 2 games. The matchups that Miracles tend to win tend to be grindy, even though Charlotte's Bug is good at grinding. So we'll see how this shapes up.
So each player will draw 7 cards here.
Yeah, unless they might agree to some other arrangement. But
So I do
think it's
actually see Blood Moon from Daniel.
Yeah. Being on the play, it's especially good. But does he have enough lands to?
Yeah, he has.
Okay.
He can fetch a Volcanic.
Yeah.
I assume one of those fetches will fetch an island as well. So
Yeah.
assuming he doesn't draw any more lands, that Blood Boon will make it so Daniel will have 2 mountains and an island.
I do think this hand is otherwise quite weak, so he's pretty much all in on this card.
He has a Pyroblast, even though it's not good against the early drops.
So yeah, the Pyroblast is good for fighting against Force and Ancestral Vision and Jace, but it's unlikely to be useful in the early game. I totally agree.
Yeah, that Entreat the Angels just kind of there in Daniel's hand.
Yeah. You know, it's actually one of the best cards in the matchup, and because it's so good, I don't mind having it in the opening hand as long as it's not getting hemmed
So
away.
you could brainstorm it away?
Yeah. There are a lot of matchups where having the Miracle in your hand isn't actually that bad if you have sufficient manipulation, but Daniel's kind of all in on his Jace, which needs a while to get going. So Aaron's going to lead off with an Underground Sea and presumably have a play. Maybe a Thoughtseize, Deathrite, Needle?
Thoughtseize would be very powerful here.
Yeah.
It would let Aaron see the Blood Moon, and he could play accordingly.
Yeah.
But I think it's just going to be Deathrite, which will actually also be just as powerful.
Yeah, does he have some Decays in hand? Okay, Swords of Plowshares, exactly what he wanted. I think I just fired off stuff right now. A turn 2 Charlotte's or a Liliana will be pretty annoying. So Swords of Plowshares is going to take care of the Deathrite Shaman. It's going to go farming. Aaron's going to untap, draw for the turn. That a Pithing Needle. That is a Pithing Needle.
There's a second Deathrite here.
Yeah, and I think Aaron's stuck on a one-lander. And Daniel's going to tank. He actually doesn't have anything to do with this, but he's going to go ahead and untap and slam that Blood Moon. And I think that's going to be game unless Aaron rips his basic lands in a timely manner. Now the question is, what do you fetch here? Blue's not going to turn you on anything right now, and you have a Mentor in hand, so there's some merit to just fetching Plains and Volcanic.
Yeah. I think, well, Daniel here is going to fetch an island because
that's more conservative.
If he does happen to play the Blood Moon for whatever reason, it allows him to cast Jace if he draws another blue source. However, I don't think, I'd be surprised if he played Blood. Oh, he is playing the Blood Moon here.
Actually, I think this is a good time to go for it.
Yeah.
He doesn't have Decay Man available.
The reason why I'm kind of surprised by that is that now he can't cast the Monastery Mentor.
Yeah.
And he has to draw either islands or plains in order to be effective, basically. Whereas Aaron, at least Aaron has a Deathrite Shaman, and that Deathrite Shaman, while it only produces 1 mana at a time, it gives Aaron access to any color.
Yeah. Timely Sense of Divining Top from Daniel right after Pithing Needle locks that down, so that's not quite what he was looking for. Aaron's going to pick up a fetch land. It's going to come into play as a basic mountain, not going to do anything. Here's an Ancestral Vision on Suspend Duty from Deathrite mana. And Aaron's going to pick up a Terminus for turn. It's probably going to ship back. Ancestral Vision is going to tick down. Aaron's going to pick up another card. It is essentially a mountain. It's going to play another land. And do you think he attacks here? I think at some point you do, but you don't want to trade your Deathrite with a Snapcaster Mage.
That's definitely true. He just goes in.
Another mountain. It's a lot of draw goal action right here. Both players are kind of confined under this Blood Moon.
And Aaron actually drawing that Force of Will here.
That's an excellent draw.
Yeah. He has a Shardless Agent in his hand to pitch that Force of Will.
Daniel's draw for the turn. Another Terminus. Oh, no, a fetch land. Okay, that's something.
So Daniel will actually be hampered by his own Blood Moon.
Yeah.
Which is kind of why I was surprised that he cast it on turn 3. While it was an optimal time, maybe to cast it against Aaron, it was also an optimal time for him to cast it against himself.
I think he's gotten unlucky because he chose to go with the island over the plains, which is a judgment call, but then he's been ripping a lot of white cards.
Yeah.
And his Force of Will is going to try to take care of the Power Blast, which is aimed at the Ancestral Vision coming off the spin. The Force of Will is going to resolve, so is the Ancestral Vision. Let's see what Aaron picked up on his 3 cards and the draw for the turn.
So yeah, Thoughtseize, Brainstorm, Liliana, and a land.
Yeah, right now all he needs are basics and maybe another Deathrite. Exile land, I think this is going to be a Brainstorm. And
so one thing to note is actually, I think Aaron's running pretty low on lands and graveyards.
Yeah, he is. He did pick up a Sylvan Library on that Brainstorm. Yeah. He has one more chance to cast it, but I don't think there are any more lands left in graveyards.
I think there's one in Aaron's
Okay,
graveyard.
yeah.
There might be
no,
two.
No, that's the Charlotte's Agent got exiled, and the land is right underneath it.
But I think
Oh.
Aaron had 2 lands, actually.
Okay, yeah, we might be able to see Sylvan Library.
The problem being that when Aaron casts this Sylvan Library to find his first original, to find a basic,
Yeah.
now he'll have to find a second basic because his Deathrite Shaman will be turned off.
So I'm not sure I even like jamming the Sylvan Library here. If that's going to be the case. You could also just use the discard step
Yeah.
or the cleanup step to get more lands in the yard.
Yeah, actually, that's a really good point. I think that's something he'll have to resort to, and hopefully he'll see that
Yeah,
line
and
of play.
I think I like that actually better. You need to get rid of crap from the top of your library.
Yeah.
Sylvan Library allows you to do that, and
Yeah.
then it might as well be in the graveyard.
Yeah, no, this is a great line of play. Being able to draw 2 extra cards, that'll force him to discard because he'll be up to 8 now.
Yeah, so I
next
just
turn.
take 8 right here. Oh, and he finds the replicate, so it's discard. I think he's got to discard it. You got the decay now, so you got an answer in addition to. Well, you got the Maelstrom Post in that too. So this is going to be an aggressive use. All right, take
Well,
8. I like that. Good play.
It's not like Miracles aggressively attacks your life total, right? So Aaron knows he has life to play with.
Well, Miracles could get surprisingly aggressive, but not from this board state.
yeah, now with 6 mountains and a plane and an island.
I've seen some Miracles players joke and even start testing Price of Progress, so it's pretty spicy. However, it's going to probably kill both players. 10 damage would go to Aaron and 12 to Daniels. That's pretty entertaining.
So there's a Tarmogoyf here. I think, do you just bite the bullet and take 8 more? Aaron's only going to take 2 more. However, that Tarmogoyf is going to do a lot of work.
I would play a Tarmogoyf and hope to dodge removal, because Daniel still needs the planes.
I think it's Aaron knows that Daniel doesn't have the necessary removal right now, because
Yeah.
otherwise that Deathrite Shaman would not be on the board.
Yep. Just clean up, discard that Verdant Catacomb.
And Daniel here
draws
just-
for the turn. Ooh, it's a Tundra. It's gonna
He's
go
just
in the back.
dying. He just needs dying for a planes.
Yeah. Sylvan Library. This is actually my Sylvan Library that I lent to Aaron, so I'm proud to see you doing a lot of
So
work right
Daniel
here.
has 4 islands and 2 planes.
Yeah.
So he actually only has 5 basics
And
left.
the awkward thing is the Pithing Needle just really wrecked his ability to fight through this.
But it's not like Daniel
you know
didn't
what,
have
You know what Aaron just
other
found?
spells.
A basic swamp. But I
Does
don't,
he even? I don't think he even wants
I
to
would
kill
not.
that blood
I
moon.
certainly would not. I would just take the swamp, use it to drain.
Yeah. Or he could play a Liliana too.
I would not. Daniel's holding a bunch of clunkers in his hand. I would just aggressively attack the life total. If you're going to fire off discard, though, do it pre-combat to grow the Tarmogoyf. And from this board state, I think there are multiple cards that want white, but only one card that gets turned on by red. So in this case, by another island. So I would take the Jace. Some merit to taking top to play around a drawn wear tear, but I think Jace is the card you want in this board state.
Yeah. I think Daniel should have. I don't know what Daniel should have done. Honestly,
I don't blame him for jamming the
Yeah,
Blood Moon. I think it was a judgment call whether to play the planes or the fetch the planes or island.
because he also has 4 Ponder and 4 Brainstorm
Okay.
in his deck. So
Aaron-
if he draws Ponder or Brainstorm, he's going to kick himself if he gets a planes.
Aaron takes the Swords of Plowshares. That's justifiable. But a top-decked island. Ooh.
That's a Jace.
Okay.
It's not looking great for the Miracles player here.
Nope. Aaron's gonna go back to the library, find Decay and a couple of lands. I think he just afford to be conservative now. Take the Force of Will. I think he has a. Does he have blue card advantage?
I'm sure he does.
No, he does not.
He does not. Oh, so that's very surprising.
Get in for 3. Drop Daniel to 8. He's on a 2.5 turn clock.
Oh, well,
Oh, here we go. This actually could swing the game in favor of Aaron. He's going to slam that Jace and bounce the Tarmogoyf. And I like doing that right away. Oh, he has a Force of Will. Okay, that's very different. So Aaron's going to go down to 4. He is shut down from going back to the library, but he can still use that to manipulate. He's going to go ahead, take that Swords of Plowshares out of Daniel's graveyard, drain him down to 6. That is,
I believe that's game.
yeah, because Jason Mind Sculptor grew that Tarmogoyf. That's exactly.
What an interesting second game. And
Yeah.
that's the match.
All right, so that's going to be match in favor of Aaron Gaudio. We're going to come back to the booth. Hey guys, I'm Sean Yu, joined here by Charles Wong. We just saw a classic matchup, 2 of the most popular decks in the format. Charlotte's Bug, piloted by Aaron Gaudio, taking down Miracles, piloted by Daniel Smith, into putting Aaron at 3-0. Very good position to make the top 8. Let's see if we can maybe get Aaron for a winner's interview and then maybe get some backup matches.
Yeah.
Would you like to talk to him or should
Yeah,
I?
sure, I can
Okay, great. You want to just hang out right here while I grab Aaron?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Let's do that.
Make sure no one sees this. Aaron's coming over when he signs one. All right. The mic's still on, by the way. Watch my back up too.
The mic's on, so they can hear you.
Some place I should put it.
Probably just a little bit. Well, oh, all right. No, you're not Sean Yu. Welcome back to the booth. I'm here with Aaron, who is 3-0 with, what are you 3-0 with?
Shardless. Shardless bug. Yep.
All right, so going into the Miracles matchup, what are you looking for?
Just early advantage. I feel like that match is really swingy. You can get very close to killing them, and then they'll just wipe the board with you, and they can establish. I mean, counterbalance isn't great against Shardless, so that's one good thing is that they can't really lock you down. But if they start, if they get to the point where they can entreat and stuff, you're basically dead. So I want early Death Rights. Death Right is great against Miracles.
Yep.
It's a threat they have to deal with, or you just eat their stuff. If they're playing Snapcasters, like those are useless. Obviously, in both of those matches, or maybe just the second game, Sylvan Library is great against Miracles. They really can't deal with it. So I have it main deck, and they really can't deal with it. Post board, I don't even know if I guess they probably should bring in Wear Tears. I think I would if I was Miracles. That's kind of their only way of dealing with it, aside from like Council's Judgment and stuff. So it's really good. You can basically draw a bunch of cards with it because they don't really threaten your life total. Usually, by the time they're threatening your life total, you're dead. Mentors can threaten your life total a little faster, but between decays and stuff, it's not as much of a problem as it will be for other decks, I think.
All right.
I really just want to drown them in card advantage. Just get threats on the board. Maybe hold back a little bit if they Terminus. Shardless Agent can help you rebuild your board pretty quick. Deathrite can drain them.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first match was, I would say, kind of uneventful, but the second game.
Yeah, well, the second game was literally uneventful for many turns.
Yeah.
I think I've played Miracles with Blood Moon, and it's a really risky play. Often, if you can't just fetch your basics. So in that case, like he only had the one basic, and I think he just drew duels. So he played the duels, and it's risky because on the one hand, it can shut my deck down.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I had an active Deathrite, and I do play some basics, so I had chances, and I think in that case, it kind of screwed him a lot more than it screwed me.
We definitely saw where that Deathrite Shaman did a lot of work.
Oh, yeah.
I assume you were not expecting that Blood Moon in that particular position.
Yeah, I mean, at that position I wasn't, otherwise I probably would have fetched basic turn 1, I think, to cast a Deathrite.
Were you worried at all when he cast that Blood Moon?
A little bit, but then I saw like he only had the one basic too, and I had an active Deathrite. At that point, I think there were like 3 or 4 lands in the graveyard, and I knew I had basics, so I was like, well, there's a chance that he's just not going to do anything. That he's basically locking himself out as well. I had the Pitting Needle on top, which I thought was one of the biggest threats there that would help him recover. Obviously, I think he told me afterward he boarded out Ponders, which I think was probably a mistake.
Yeah.
Had he, had those cantrips, Ponders, Brainstorms.
Yeah, he could have found maybe basic land.
Yeah, Brainstorm probably wouldn't be great in that situation. I'd rather have Ponder just because you could Brainstorm lock yourself. Ponder definitely, like if he had drawn a Ponder, he probably would have done much better. As you can see, he eventually drew an island, and he was able to try to cast a Jace. I had the Force waiting. So Sylvan Library did so much work there. It not only let me draw to finally get a basic, but it also let me draw enough cards that I could discard lands to keep casting things. Whereas I could see like he wasn't able to do anything really. So by the end of the game, I had 3 abrupt decays. I didn't need to decay the Blood Moon because like he would have been able to unlock.
Yeah, because it ended up being better for you.
Right.
So
I kind of got really lucky on that.
Yeah. So you're 3-0 now. You could probably double draw, and if you win this match, what matchups are you looking forward to? What do you want to face?
I think actually Miracles is an okay matchup. I don't want to say that Shardless is advantaged. I'm not sure that's true, but it's probably close to 50-50. I definitely don't want to see like lands. Lands is like the worst matchup. Burn is a pretty bad matchup. Hopefully I'm out of the burn bracket, but I'm not necessarily out of the lands bracket. So those are pretty bad matchups. I think like 12 post can be pretty bad for me, depending on if I can wasteland. I don't play a lot of wastelands, so it's not very good for me. Other mid-range decks, I think Shardless is very well positioned against. They can be tough, but Shardless can recover really fast. So the biggest problem with those matches is the clock. Match 1 I played a mirror match, and like we almost went to time.
Yeah, because you're both trying to card advantage each other.
Yeah, and you get very complicated game states and complicated decisions.
And the cards, basically all your cards bounce off each other, right?
Yeah, and you're fetching and drawing extra cards, and I play in the library, and it's going to be just a lot of complexity. So those grindy matchups, the clock is usually your biggest problem.
All right, well, Aaron here is 3-0. Good luck, sir.
Thank you.
And we will see you later.